Is the Dallas defense on pace for something historically bad? After another meltdown performance, the numbers are starting to look alarming and critics are throwing around phrases like worst in NFL history. But is that fair, or is this narrative spiraling out of control? Some believe injuries and scheme changes are to blame. Others say deeper structural issues are being exposed. So how bad is it really? One hidden stat from the recent stretch paints a picture far more concerning than fans want to admit. If this trend continues, Dallas won't just lose games, they could rewrite record books for all the wrong reasons. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you might want to sit down for this one, because what we're about to talk about isn't just bad, it's historic level bad. We're asking a question today that no one in Dallas ever thought they'd seriously consider. Has the Dallas Cowboys defense exploded into the worst unit in NFL history? That sounds dramatic. That sounds like clickbait. But when you start stacking up the numbers, when you look at the film, when you watch the missed tackles, the blown coverages, the confusion before the snap, you begin to understand why this conversation is no longer crazy. It's real. This is a franchise built on defensive dominance. Think about the doomsday defense of the 1970s. Think about the physical identity that carried them through the glory years. Even in more recent seasons, the Cowboys leaned on playmakers like Micah Parsons to tilt games, create turnovers, and make life miserable for opposing quarterbacks. Defense was supposed to be the backbone. Instead, what we're seeing right now is a complete breakdown at every single level. Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers don't lie. Opposing quarterbacks are carving up this secondary like it's a 7-on-7 drill in July. Completion percentages are sky high. Third downs feel automatic. Red zone trips are basically touchdowns waiting to happen. When teams get into rhythm against Dallas, they don't just move the ball. They march. They dominate time of possession. They control tempo. And worst of all, they look comfortable. That's the word that should scare Cowboys fans the most. Comfortable. Quarterbacks are standing in clean pockets with all day to throw. Receivers are finding soft spots in zone coverage with no defender within 5 yards. Running backs are bouncing outside and turning 5-yard gains into 25-yard backbreakers because contained responsibilities are blown. It's not just one issue. It's everything at once. The defensive line, which was supposed to be a strength, has been wildly inconsistent. Yes, there are flashes. Yes, there are moments when the pass rush shows up and reminds you what it can be. But over the course of a full game, that pressure disappears. When you can't consistently hurry the quarterback, your secondary is exposed. When your secondary is exposed, big plays happen. And big plays have been the theme of this defensive collapse. We've seen chunk plays on crossing routes where linebackers are a step late. We've seen safeties take bad angles that turn manageable gains into house calls. We've seen cornerbacks bite on double moves like rookies, even when they're veterans. The communication breakdowns are visible. Pre-snap confusion. Players pointing at each other. Late adjustments. And then boom, snap, throw, touchdown. This isn't just a slump. This feels systemic. When a defense gives up explosive plays week after week, it tells you something deeper is wrong. Either the scheme isn't matching the personnel, or the personnel isn't executing the scheme. And sometimes it's both. There are drives where the Cowboys look like they don't trust what they're seeing. Linebackers hesitate. Defensive backs play off coverage on third and short. Blitzes are picked up easily because the timing is predictable. The scary part is how quickly games get out of hand. It's not just about giving up yards. It's about momentum. Once the dam breaks, it pours. A 7-7 game suddenly becomes 21-7 in a blink. The offense barely gets a chance to respond because the defense can't get off the field. And that leads to another major issue: time of possession. When your defense can't force punts, your offense is sitting on the sideline. That disrupts rhythm. That increases pressure on the quarterback to be perfect when he finally gets the ball back. It changes the entire dynamic of the team. Let's talk about the red zone. Historically bad defenses fail in tight spaces, and Dallas has been doing exactly that. Inside the 20-yard line, discipline matters more than ever. Eye control, gap integrity, communication. Instead, we're seeing misdirection plays fool this unit repeatedly. Tight ends leaking wide open. Receivers slipping behind coverage on simple play action. It's fundamental breakdowns, not just elite offense beating good defense. Now here's where the worst in NFL history conversation starts creeping in. Historically bad defenses usually have one of two traits. They either can't stop the run at all, or they give up explosive passing plays at an absurd rate. Dallas is flirting with both. There are games where opponents rush for massive totals. There are others where quarterbacks throw for career highs. When you're bad in multiple phases, that's when you enter dangerous territory statistically. What's shocking is that this wasn't supposed to happen. The Cowboys invested heavily on that side of the ball. Draft picks, big contracts, coaching adjustments. On paper, this defense has talent. That's what makes it even more frustrating. It's not a rebuild roster. It's not a team stripped for cap space. It's a group that should be competing at a high level. So what's going wrong? First, discipline. Penalties have extended drives at the worst possible times. Third and long turns into first down because of a defensive hold. A stop in the red zone gets erased by a roughing the passer call. Good defenses don't beat themselves. Right now, Dallas is doing exactly that. Second, tackling. You cannot be a serious defense in the NFL if you don't tackle in space. Missed tackles aren't just mistakes, they're momentum shifters. When a receiver catches a short pass and 3 defenders fail to bring him down, that demoralizes a unit. It energizes the opponent. And it shows up on film over and over again. Third, adjustments. Halftime is supposed to be where coaching staffs recalibrate. Great coordinators find answers. But too often, the same problems show up in the third and fourth quarters. If an opponent finds a mismatch early, they keep attacking it. And Dallas hasn't shown the ability to shut that door consistently. Let's not ignore the psychological aspect either. Confidence matters on defense. When players start pressing, trying to make the hero play instead of trusting their assignment, gaps open up. Big plays happen. And once the narrative of "we can't stop anyone" creeps into a locker room, it becomes self-fulfilling. This is a franchise under a microscope. Every mistake is magnified. Every blown coverage is replayed 100 times. The pressure in Dallas is different. And when things spiral, they spiral loudly. Now, to be fair, calling them the worst in NFL history is extreme. The league has seen some truly catastrophic defenses over the decades. Units that set records for points allowed. Teams that gave up 30-plus points almost every single week. Dallas may not be there statistically yet. But the trajectory? That's what's alarming. If the current pace continues, the numbers will land in territory no one wants to see.